So you haven't convinced me not to go into dentistry.
Oh, I'm saying you should. I asked her, I was like, I might just do this for the summer. She's like, you'll be able to pick it up in no time. Like,
but then you have to be around people and teeth.
Which I love. I love being around.
Hi everyone, welcome to OSA Backstage. I'm Dani Meier, this is Hot Sauce, and on today's episode, Serena and I are talking with Dr. Federico Montes, aka the Omaha Symphony's Associate Principal Trumpet Player. We've never talked with Fede before. I mean, in real life, we've talked with Fede, but in podcast world, we've never talked with Fede. So in addition to talking with him about the exquisite program he's put together for the June 14th Summer Concert Series, English is really hard for me today. Omaha Chamber Music Society, their awesome summer concert series. Fede curated the June 14th program. So in addition to talking with him about that, we also got into why he chose the trumpet. Hint, family guilt matters. I think you're going to enjoy it. Fede's had quite the journey from potential medical school and Cold Stone Creamery to where he is now. Enjoy. Well, on that note, Fede Montes, would you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Federico Montes, Associate Principal Trumpet of the Omaha Symphony and Yamaha artist for Latin America and North America.
Very cool. And, okay, so we've established that your dental hygiene is separate from your trumpet habit, but where did music start for you?
Music started in high school, actually. I guess a little later than usually here in the States. I used to be very into soccer and whatnot. I think one of my nieces was not doing really well, and my mom was like talking to my aunt, and my aunt was like, "You should play the trumpet," and my mom was like, "Yeah, why not?" So that's how trumpet started.
Did your aunt have a reason?
My aunt was really good friends with all the people in the band, and she always dreamt on like playing trumpet, and so she never really was able to do it. And why shouldn't Fede do it?
So when you say the band,
yeah,
like what are
like the people in the band class in high school. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really sweet. So she's looking back at her own school, like nostalgia.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's missing those people. So she wanted you to live. She wanted to live vicariously through you.
There you go.
Okay, so when you started trumpet, was there an immediate like, oh yes, this is for me, or did you have to grow into it?
I think I liked it right away because it was like very structured. I also during the day we were allowed in school. We were allowed to leave the classroom for like actual going to practice for trumpet. So there were like classes that they will allow us to leave. So it wasn't very smart, but like economics, like I was able to leave and go play the trumpet. For sports, we were allowed to leave and go play the trumpet. Go play our instruments. So like everyone else was doing physical activity outside, which was awesome, but we were told to go practice. So it was funny. So we had that during the day. On Wednesdays and Fridays from 10 to 12:30, we always had a block, like a band practice, and then rehearsal was every day, Monday through Friday, from 2 p.m. till 5 or 5:30 p.m. and then Saturdays from 9 to 12 or 1.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so joining the band was a instant commitment.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're learning. It's classical band. Was that your favorite style of music, or did you immediately start looking at other genres, or did you stick with your band class?
No, it was like band class for through the first couple of years of high school, and then I started doing salsa, which is kind of like financially that's kind of like how I started to get some money. And that's all I was doing during the weekends, just playing salsa on Friday nights, Saturday nights.
Was there a youth orchestra, and do you remember your first symphonic concert? What was your first symphony?
My first symphonic concert was actually in the United States. I never played orchestra until I came here.
Okay, so what brought you here then? Because the band, I grew up, there was no orchestra program, so I had to play in a community orchestra and then youth orchestra.
Mhm.
But I at least had that experience of, oh, I know what this is and I know what it's like. So what brought you to the States and then led you to your first orchestra concert?
Yes. So just to go back and that there were youth orchestras in Colombia. It was just not. I'm from a very small little town nearby the city, so it wasn't financially we couldn't do it, and there was never kind of like that encouragement from anybody to do it, which is fine. But then I ended up coming here because my parents moved here. My dad was living in Tampa for a little while, and so I was trying to figure out I was supposed to be actually going into medical school, and ended up deciding to go take this competition in Colombia, like the national trumpet competition. I got very lucky and I won. And the professor of trumpet from Baylor University was one of the judges. And he was like, "Why don't you come to the States to study trumpet?" I was like, "Oh, I'm actually not looking to study trumpet." And he said, "Well, you should consider it. If you do you have any connections in the United States?" And say, "Oh, my dad lives there." He's like, "You gotta come." And so that's how that train got kind of started.
Okay, so how long did you have to think about medical school versus trumpet? Like,
Not much. I mean, I feel like I'm an only child, and my cousin was an only child as well. He was just finishing medical school, so the idea was for us to go into the same field. We grew up together like brothers, and it was kind of like I feel like I was letting him down, my aunt down, my mom down. But then I was like, oh, I'll do this and see if anything. My mom was like, you'll start studying in there, and if anything, you just go into something else. So
oh, that's actually really pretty great. That
Very level-headed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I mean, there's always you can almost always go back to school.
Yeah.
And okay, so I love that you were worried about letting your aunt down, and this is all her fault.
Yeah.
Initially.
Yeah. So
So you went to Baylor,
I
or did you consider going to Baylor?
yeah. So I landed in Tampa. That was September 12th of 2012. And then September 13th, I went to the University of South Florida because we realized that Baylor was going to be extremely expensive. It's going to be like out of state tuition and blah, 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 you know. And for undergrad, they didn't offer much scholarship.
Mm.
So on the 13th, I went to the University of South Florida with my dad and my mom, and just to go see who the trumpet professor was. The professor from Baylor recommended I went there.
Okay.
So I did. I went. I met the trumpet professor, and it was really funny because he goes, "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Jay Coble." And I looked at my dad. I was like, "What did he say?" In Spanish. It's just like, "Oh, so I'm Federico Montes," like in Spanish. But I didn't understand anything what he said because I didn't speak any English. So
Did your dad speak English at that point?
my dad did. My dad does. Yeah. But at the time as well. Yeah. So he was the one that was translating for us in there.
So you had okay. So I'm assuming then that you started studying with Jay.
Mm-hmm.
You had to learn English
Mm-hmm.
so that you could actually have lessons with your teacher. Was there anybody helping you out at first in lessons, or did you just have to find common like musical ground while you got more comfortable with English?
Well, there was one person helping me a little bit. I think the toughest part was kind of like studying for the SAT to be able to get into school. So they let me submit those scores the 1st of December. So I had October and November to kind of learn English to take the exam
Wait,
to get into school for the spring of 2013.
you had 2 months to learn English so that you could take the SAT.
Yeah.
How in a sweet hell did you actually do that?
I don't know.
That's not Duolingo.
It's not Duolingo. I found like free learning English websites online. And so I was like all day and I just doing it. And then this guy, John Casañas, he's a Cuban American guy in Tampa, going to school at the University of South Florida. And he will come and pick me up a couple of days a week because I didn't have a car or anything. And he will take me to the school to kind of like mingle with people and talk a little more. He spoke a little Spanish, and so it was kind of like the trade. Like I was helping him with Spanish, and he was helping me a lot with English. So that's how it worked out. And then I started school in the spring of 2013.
And it's been fine ever since.
Yeah, ish.
How did you find like all of that together? New country, new language, new career path. At any point, did you like wake up and just go, I wish I'd gone to medical school?
Yeah, I feel like every day, especially when I started school, like going to history class or, taking the gen eds. It's like 300 people in a place and you just don't know. It's like, I still have to take like math and stuff like that in college. And a lot of people, it's like, oh, you just see 2 + 2 is always 4. But no one just start talking about like, if you're standing here, there's a shadow, whatever. It's like, it was a little tough. So it was like, yeah, definitely very frustrating. Try different tools, like recording everything and using an app to translate the recording to Spanish. Try to record everything in English, take notes in Spanish, and then kind of like trying to record it again. And so taking down notes in English. So I was like going to class. Each class I was taking it twice because I was going after school home to kind of like go on the recordings and take notes and learn.
Did trumpet become any sort of a sanctuary then? Like, or did you feel the same level of workload in those lessons as you did with the other classes?
Yeah, I think it was tough just because I never had a trumpet teacher before. And so that was my first like actual trumpet teacher. And the assignments and just having to play things. Thankfully, somehow I was able to manage my way around some of that stuff, and it helped a bit not have to worry so much about the trumpet. But it was hard still. Yeah.
When was there a turning point? Is like, as you look back, was there a moment where suddenly things started getting easier, or things just clicked into place, or had you felt like you've just been getting better at handling?
I think when I started socializing and like feeling better within the group of people at school, it helped a lot that no one but that one guy spoke a little Spanish. So there was no way for me to there was no scapegoat for me to like go talk in Spanish a little bit, kind of like relieve that pressure. I just had to get comfortable with it. And then I started working at Colston Creamery in November of 2012, which is where I met you now.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I was like trying to learn like now things outside of just music and school. Kind of like more the dialect and all that. So that all helped. Very frustrating process, but yeah.
Are you still able to enjoy ice cream after working at Colston?
I've never really been a fan of ice cream, but I'll have a little bit here and there. Yeah.
Does Chanel like ice cream?
She does ice cream a little more than I do. Yeah.
Okay, what's her flavor?
Strawberry shortcake is kind of like her thing.
That's fun. That's a good summary.
She's the one that's gotten that strawberry shortcake into me, so that's why.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually really sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had an uphill battle for your entire undergrad. What happened next? Like, did you think about grad school? Did you think about studying elsewhere?
So my trumpet professor, Jay Coble, he was the one that was like, oh, you should, like, we got to start thinking about where you're going to go after this. I wasn't sure whether I was going to keep on playing trumpet or not. At that point, I'm still thinking, but now going into like computer science at school. So I started taking some coding classes in undergrad, like, Java and, all this stuff. Because I was thinking potentially just moving to that. Again, another competition comes now. The national trumpet competition here. Lucky. And came back.
You keep saying lucky. I think the second time it happens, luck has less to do with it. So you won the national trumpet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that kind of like, my teacher was like, you should consider actually playing trumpet. I think you'll be okay. Maybe you can do a master's, and if anything, you just go into something else. That's kind of like the way I've been going through life in the trumpet. It's like, oh, I'll try this, and if it doesn't work out, I'll just go into something else.
Okay.
Was orchestra always a goal, or you seem to have with these competitions? Did you want to be a soloist? Was that ever kind of a path that was encouraged?
Yes, soloist was always like kind of like something that I thought of. I never really thought it was like a reality. I started going in my undergrad in the summers. I started playing in friends, like going to study in friends with this guy. I won a scholarship through Yamaha on a Latin American trumpet competition. And so I started the summers going to friends to Paris and Roubaix to study with this guy, Eric Cabier. And he wanted me to move there after my undergrad to study solely just solo trumpet and then just do that. He was another person that unfortunately was very disappointed when I took auditions for masters in here, and that's when my teacher was like, "You should go to grad school." And so we applied to 4 different places, and yeah, Baylor was kind of like one of them. I feel like I owe it to the professor there to at least audition and hopefully see if I could get in. But I didn't end up going to Baylor. I ended up going to New York at Juilliard, and yeah, that's where I ended up. That was like the next chapter.
Okay, so at Juilliard, what did your focus become? Is it still solo track, or are you starting to branch out?
So my first lesson at Juilliard was, I still look back at my recordings of my lessons, and my very first lesson was about 12 minutes, 12 and a half minutes. That was my first lesson with Mark Gould. And I showed up and I was like, Mr. Gould, I never met these people or done my audition. I've never really heard of Juilliard before I went and auditioned there either. Because I didn't know what any of these schools were. Yale, NEC, Juilliard. I knew Baylor, but I didn't know any of these other schools. Which I think probably helped because there's no pressure. It's like, oh, it's just another building. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then showed up to my lesson. I started playing this trumpet solo from a solo repertoire, not orchestral. And he said, "So what is it that you want to do? You want to do orchestral? You want to play trumpet solo?" I said, "No, I came here to do orchestral." He said, "Okay, so why are you doing this?" I was like, "Well, because isn't this what the lessons are like?" He's like, "No, this is not how the lessons are. Play this." So he put Brent, Vaisler Brent has this book of orchestral studies, etudes, bunch of them. They're all based on orchestral pieces. Okay. He said, "Play the first one." I said, "Okay." Played on my B flat trumpet, and he said, "Okay, now play it like if you're trying to play an orchestral like so." And then I played it, and he closed the book, and he said, "Get out of here, go try to learn, go listen to some orchestral stuff and learn how to play a little bit more orchestral. Come back next week." Different words, but a little bit harsher. Okay. That's kind of like the way. And so I left, and yeah, that's kind of like my first lesson up there.
Did you do what he said? Did you park yourself with recordings and play through the book and
studied? Yeah, it was that was another kind of like hard beginning. I didn't know anybody. I moved into the city like a week and a half before school started, and I was kind of like still setting up and trying to listen to recordings of these things and trying to see what I was doing that wasn't like them. Yeah. And yeah, we just started from there. I remember my very first cycle that week. My lesson, I think, was on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday or Thursday, we started the first orchestra cycle, and I was assigned to play first trumpet. And my first orchestra cycle was Don Juan with Alan Gilbert, and that was
for baseball fans. Alan Gilbert was the music director of the New York Philharmonic.
Yes.
Wow. And Don Juan.
Don Juan.
Okay. And how was that as a learning experience?
It's a learning experience, a humbling experience. I realized that I wasn't being heard. I didn't know what playing loud trumpet was. I didn't project. I couldn't play most of these things. So I was assigned a second first trumpet. So it was two principal trumpets a second trumpet and then a third trumpet.
What would you say the most physical differences are in where you were, how you were playing before this, and then how you had to play after? Like, what did you have to do to become an effective principal player?
I think I just had to learn more about American style of playing. It's a little stronger. It's a little more direct. It's brighter. It's just more powerful, we'll say. I grew up and started playing more of like European style trumpet, which is a little bit more delicate. No European orchestral, but just straight up European, which is more delicate, more trying to get around the horn, beautiful sound. Right here, just playing solos, and orchestra just is completely different. So it was never gonna work that way, of course.
But you had to make it work.
Yeah, had to make it work. Just started working on stuff with my teachers, and in school was very nice because I had a chance to hop around the studios. So I was studying with Ray Mays, one lesson every few weeks, and he was touching my technique, like this is what you need to do. And then I was going to class with Mr. Gould, and he was like getting me into the orchestral world and kind of getting me out of that European kind of like very soft, very timid playing and putting me into something else. So that helped, yeah.
Okay. I have this core memory of auditioning for Manhattan School of Music and for grad school. And I've never seen anything like it. The poor bass player in front of me came out of the room like just crying. And, here's this massive guy, and he's just like a puddle at my feet. Just like, all right, so that's who we're going to go play for. So it feels very. I feel like that mentality is you have to be really thick-skinned, or you're not gonna be able to get through that experience of going to school there and competing with people who live in that city. Is my general takeaway. But again, it's another uphill battle for you.
Yeah.
So you've got like this experience playing as a soloist and orchestrally now your careers as an orchestral soloist. But for this OCMS concert, you'll be playing a concerto. Are you kind of going to go back to some of those soloist roots? Does it change? Are you going to change the way you play this concerto? Based on your experiences versus how you would play in the orchestra for this final concert cycle, for example?
Yeah, I think it's great to be able to go back to some of that. Yeah. And we started building this program based on the Sense On, the septet. That was Jay's like, I want us to play this. What can we do? So I was like, oh, let's think about something that is something that works well with it. And so it's funny because I don't think I enjoy as much just standing in front and playing. Like I still do it, but I wanted to do something very different from that, just like straight up solo trumpet and accompaniment. So the septet was great because that's kind of like the stuff I'm super interested on right now. Collaborating, like trumpet heavy, but more like a collaboration rather than solo. Is always a collaboration as well, but this is more like chamber music playing and heavy chamber music. It's like a lot of who I'm playing with and what is it that where do I fit in here, instead of you guys are accompanying the trumpet. Is more like, how can I fit into all of this?
Do you think there's any difference in how you'll approach the septet and the program overall than when you're playing in a brass quintet? Because I know that's also another facet of what you do.
Yeah, I think it has to be a lot more delicate. And I was extremely lucky to be able to go on tour with the American Brass Quintet. And I think like that was the main, like, when kind of like my biggest love for chamber music started. Just because everything that I've done in quintet before, it was kind of like very aggressive and we just want to be the brass players. Then I got to school in New York and they were my coaches then. The American Brass Quintet they were my coaches in school for brass quintet. Wow. And I feel like they saw how much I loved it. And so many years after, I was asked to, come and go play on tour with them, and it was so special. But ever since, I've been trying to always remember those days and kind of like take this into like how thoughtful everything is, and a little less of um muscle brass and more of like, how can I shape this for it to be like, Henry playing something, Ada playing something. It's like, I want to sound like that. Yeah.
The program overall is really fun, and it's all over the place. Like, did you besides the same song, did you pick everything else? Like, how did you find the other pieces to go with it?
Yeah. So I just wanted to do something that was like, that was going to take us everywhere, of course,
Okay.
as you saw.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want people to be able to sit in there and be like, oh my God, this was awesome, but this was so different and cool too. And this was so different. And this didn't even have a trumpet, and it was so good, right? Because obviously I needed a little rest, but also I just wanted people to enjoy different colors and different sounds. And I feel like that's when the Martinu came about. We thought of maybe doing a little bit of an arrangement of the Martinu, and then have viola cover some of the bassoon stuff, and then have two violins play the clarinet part, and then experiment with that. We ended up just decided to do the regular version of the Martinu, which obviously really fun. And then the away center, he was my teacher in school for my theory teacher. And so that was super fun. So it was good.
So for baseball fans, Eric Owazen is a fantastic American composer, and that's kind of like being taught by Copeland or by Piston back in the day. She's like, yeah, no, Eric Owazen teaches me theory. It's fine.
Yeah, very lucky, very lucky. But it's this piece I got to play last year at Classical Tahoe with some of the members of the Met Opera and San Francisco Symphony, and that was like, oh my God, I love this. And so I wanted to make sure, it's like, I gotta talk to Dani and see where we can fit this, and it just came out. Yeah, it came out just very, very nicely. We could have just sneak it in there.
Works great for the summer concert series too.
I think so. Yeah.
How far in advance do you have to work on a program like that to feel like your endurance is good for it?
I started about 2 months ago, just mainly with the septet, because it's gonna be the most delicate.
Okay, and so that's probably the more troublesome thing, is the delicate stuff.
Yes, because I want to make sure that I can fit in. I don't want it to stick out too much, right? So you gotta start thinking differently. And knowing that I was gonna have to play Mahler just before all of this, I had to have that ready before. If I try to do that next week, I'm gonna be a little bit more like in a different kind of chop, endurance type of thing. So yeah, that's probably a few months of just doing things and trying to see what works best. Many people play it on E flat trumpet. Some people play some of it on B flat trumpet. I grew up most of my early trumpet life only playing the B flat trumpet, so that's kind of like my first love. And so I'm thinking playing some of that in B flat, some of that in E flat. So just trying to learn some of these combinations. And
do you have notes from what you did with Classical Tahoe? You're talking about the same song, but like for the Owazen, is that also going to be entirely on one trumpet, or?
Yes, that's going to be fully on C trumpet.
Okay.
So in total, I'll be playing 3 different trumpets.
Will you just
could you explain actually for like the
baseball
non-music?
fans?
Yes, exactly, the baseball fans. Like the differences between those trumpets.
Yeah, so the B flat trumpet is slightly larger. Sounds kind of like the darkest sound of them 3. Very mellow type of thing, comparing it to the other 2. C trumpet is more of an orchestral trumpet. That's kind of like what we're playing Mahler on. That's what we play most of our everydays on the C trumpet. And then E flat is a slightly smaller trumpet. The timbre is a little bit brighter, and it helps playing higher notes a little bit. It's a smaller instrument, so it's slightly easier. but just the color of the trumpet is a lot brighter. So it kind of depends on what you're playing. So maybe the first movement of the septet will be, it falls, the first and last fall great on the E flat trumpet because you're not trying to hide as much. But then the inner movements fall great on the B flat. You're playing so much stuff with the viola, with the cello. So it works great for that. So different trumpets for different styles.
Darker colors to match darker strings.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I like that a lot. How many trumpets do you have?
Currently 10.
Okay.
Only one of them is a repeated instrument.
Yeah.
Only the B flat. I only have 2 B flats, and that's only because it's one classical B flat trumpet and one more of a pops B flat trumpet we use for some of the programming in the orchestra, like the Christmas pops and the rocks, some of the movies. We just need a B flat trumpet that's a lot brighter. Yeah. So it's a dark B flat and a bright B flat.
Pat has a pops trombone as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a punchier thing.
Yeah.
And how many mouthpieces?
It's actually a very odd trumpet player because I don't think my collection goes above anything like maybe 15 mouthpieces at most, which is very odd for a trumpet player.
Yeah.
I feel like it, yeah.
I mean, you do have to have different sizes for the smaller instruments, right? So you can't help that. But
most of them came with the instruments themselves. And only about probably like 7 others have been purchased just because I just needed a slight difference in between them.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So for this concert, which is on June 14th, I know you're excited about everything, but if there was like one moment in the program that you would use as like, you need to come because you need to hear this, what is that moment?
The Martin actually. Yeah. One of the inner movements is just kind of like taking a stroll through like some carnival streets. Right? I feel like that's kind of like the stuff that makes it very worth it for me, just being able to play different things. And I just want people to come and feel like they're somewhere else. Having fun. Yeah.
That's so fun. We have one last question for you.
Well, I have one more question.
Oh, we have 2 more questions.
Yes, speaking of. So, do you have a bucket list piece that you have performed or have not yet performed? Doesn't matter, that you would love to program?
For the orchestral repertoire, it will be Mahler's Third Symphony, which is funny. We're doing the first one this week.
Do you want to do that so you can play the post horn solo?
Not really.
No. Okay.
No. I mean, the post horn is beautiful, of course. But I just think it's a great piece of music, and I've just actually never been able to play it. I've been running around. When I left my old job, they played it right after I came here. The hopes that the principal trumpet here, Scott, told me we were gonna do it just before the pandemic, so we're gonna do it like soon because we're supposed to like be moving some of the repertoire. So I'm still waiting for that to happen.
I'll make a note.
So it was really funny because I feel like I keep on running from the piece, which is the absolute opposite of what I want to do.
So Mahler 3 for orchestral music.
Yeah.
How about chamber or solo?
Chamber or solo. There's this solo piece composed by Maestro Arturo Marquez, and it's a solo for trumpet, and then it's called Concierto de Otoño, the Auden Concerto, and so that's something that I really want to be able to play at some point soon.
Nice.
Some Latin American solo stuff, which I'm more leaning towards when I do my solo recitals. Most of the time I only play Latin American music now.
You write such great music for trumpet, though. Okay, Fede.
Okay.
You walked uphill for approximately 13 years. Your aunt guilt tripped you into trumpet.
Yeah.
But if you had 30 minutes on stage, no consequences, and you could try anything, what would you do?
I will just play new music composed for trumpet, strings, maybe some electronics, and percussion, drum set. I love being able to play stuff with a drum set. So I feel like strings, drum set, trumpet, maybe something else in there, and just do like a Latin American suite of that.
Any composers, past or present, that you like? If you had $1 million, you could just throw it at them to do it. Who would you?
I think I'll go back to Maestro Marquez to if we could, have something back from Maestro Piazzolla. If we could have something from this composer, Colombian composer, Juan Carlos Valencia Ramos. Just very, very Latin American stuff. I feel like that'll be awesome.
Nice. Cool. Thank you,
very
Fede.
much.
Of course. No
That's
problem. Thanks for having me.
June 14th.
June 14th. We'll see you there.
Nice job, Fede.
Thank you.